Make no mistake about it, friends, this guy deserves his flowers and then some. Because I'm not gonna lie, I, like many of you, am very, very surprised to have seen parts of the return of the Quinn Hughes trade come on to the Vancouver Canucks and make as big of an impact as they are. Today, I wanted to talk about probably the least significant piece of the trade package that Vancouver got. A guy that was seen by many as just a throw-in. Oh, okay, there's another prospect added in the deal. Nice, good for Vancouver to get an extra guy. But right away, he was not seen as a main piece behind Zeev Buium, Marco Rossi, the first-round pick. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about Liam Ohgren today, because he deserves his own gosh darn video. Straight up. Let's take a look at a tweet posted by Noah Strang yesterday after the Canucks defeated the Seattle Kraken in a shootout, courtesy of Liam Ohgren and his shootout heroics. Tiny sample size, but Ohgren is scoring 3.11 points per 60 at 5v5 with the Vancouver Canucks. He had 0 total points before the trade. Now that is a pretty ridiculous stat, but it gets even crazier when you see some of the replies. Prior to yesterday's game against the Seattle Kraken, Ohgren was scoring at the same 5v5 rate with the Canucks as Mikko Rantanen and Matthew Knies. Goodness gracious, you want to talk about guys who are taking their opportunities and running. Liam Ohgren is doing exactly that, in a way that I don't think anybody really expected to see out of him. Yes, it's true, Ohgren was always going to have some value. I mean, 6'1", 187, 19th overall pick by the Wild back in 2022. The big scouting report on Ohgren was that he was a pretty versatile, all-situations, two-way sniper winger. Think a JT Miller or a Timo Meier, a guy who works with pace, a guy who leads on the ice, a guy who probably backchecks a lot more than JT Miller does, but who, when he is playing his game, is able to control the pace of play with his puck protection, his roving around the ozone, his sniping, and his offensive versatility. There was a lot to like out of Ohgren as a prospect, and of course, we all recognize part of the reason he was able to get such high positive results in his draft-eligible seasons and the years after that in Sweden was because Ohgren was playing with some pretty talented prospects in his own right. His line mates were Noah Ostlund, who is now in the Buffalo Sabres organization, and Jonathan Lekkerimäki, who is a fellow Vancouver Canucks guy. You can assume that the Ohgren-Lekkerimäki experiment will probably get started back up at some point in these guys' NHL careers, but Ohgren doing the things that he did in development before coming over to North America and being a part of the Minnesota Wild, he was progressing pretty steadily, and I think a lot of Wild fans were excited to see what he could be. Inevitably, he had 37 points in 41 games with the Iowa Wild last season and 5 points in 24 Minnesota Wild games, but he was not able to take that next step and be a regular Minnesota Wild that was able to control play and score points like he did in the AHL. He had 0 points in 18 games with Minnesota, which is quite remarkable when you consider how much of a wagon the Wild have been this year. Ryan Hartman, Zuccarello, Boldy, Yurov, Trenin, Tarasenko, Kaprizov. They're a team with Russian dudes that have happened to get the best out of most of these guys, but Ohgren was not able to do that. Sure, you can say the Wild have issues at center, especially with the departure of Rossi. Can Joel Eriksson be the one-stop-shop solution? But overall, Ohgren just was not able to get that production to go his way this season. He was not able to translate any of that success this year. But in Vancouver, the guy has 4 points in 7 games. That is over half a point a game, and if you do the math over a full 82, that is a 47-point pace. Not bad for a guy who is essentially playing his rookie season in the National Hockey League. And I say that knowing that he had 24 games played last year, but I do think the cutoff is 25 games, so technically he can still progress, right? He's only 21 years old after all. I'm sitting here thinking about Ohgren as a guy who, if he is able to get everything going his way, maybe Ohgren is never going to be a JT Miller scoring 100 points or 99 points in a year, but maybe he maxes out as a 65-point guy, 30 goals, 35 assists, maybe if he gets to 71 year, that's like a highlight. And if he plays with Lekaramaki, if they're able to get that chemistry going back up, that could really help Lekaramaki's game out too. That guy could be a 40-goal scorer. He's got the pure shot to be able to handle it. This, of course, sets the standard for Vancouver to potentially make a trade with the Buffalo Sabres, acquire Noah Östlund, bring back that Swedish trio, and maybe Vancouver can continue with a Pettersson, a Wilander, an Ohgren, a Lekaramaki, an Östlund, and whichever other Swedes you want to say can be brought onto the Vancouver Canucks at some point in the future. Ohgren, by all accounts, has blown expectations out of the water, and one of the things that we are starting to see on full display is that offensive versatility, and I'd say specifically the shot. When he scored his first goal as a Vancouver Canuck against Jonathan Quick and the Rangers, the commentary team on the broadcast were making notes about how, yeah, Ohgren has a hard shot, and that's one of the things that Minnesota Wild fans were talking about as well. This guy can rip it. Maybe it's not the most accurate, maybe it's not a 60-goal scorer shot like an Austin Matthews, but it's hard. And when he scored against Jonathan Quick, he scored because the shot was really hard. It got saved by Quick, but it just trickled over the goal line. Then you think about some of the other goals that he is scoring. He's getting tips, he's scoring shootout goals, he is finding himself in prime areas, and he's facilitating play. In the shootout, he's able to dangle out Jeremy Swayman. He's able to beat Joey Daccord 5-hole by just coming in and ripping it. This is a guy who's feeling himself. He's getting that confidence back up. And it's one of these parts of the Vancouver Canucks' future that I think we should be very excited for, especially since he is that much younger than Marco Rossi. Rossi, if I'm not mistaken, was born in 2001. Ohgren was born in 2004. Yeah, no, these guys are younger than I am. It's kind of unfortunate, but yeah, that's kind of how the cookie crumbles, I guess, at this stage of life. Liam Ohgren, though, looking pretty good. He deserves a video after what he did yesterday, and hopefully it's able to continue on as the year progresses. If this guy comes into Vancouver next season and establishes himself as a top 6 forward, he can do everything that Arshdeep Bains was supposed to be able to do, just with a lot more consistency and skill, then I think a lot of Canucks fans would be happy with that. I don't know about you. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Liam Ohgren. What do you think his future is with the Vancouver Canucks? Where do you see his ceiling? And do you think this is a guy that can be a Jonathan Lekaramaki line mate for years and years to come after the success they had in Sweden together? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.